Hey, it's Golden Jay. I just wanted to say thank you to all the fans out there who listen to the United States of Paranormal podcast. Thanks to you, we have reached over 10,000 views, and we couldn't be happier. We love bringing you content every week, and we hope that you continue to enjoy it. So congratulations to Team Tejas and to Team Booisers for all of their hard work, and especially a thank you to all the fans out there who listen to our podcast every day of every week. Also, stick around after today's podcast. Jennifer was nice enough to give us the EVPs that were caught while they were doing their sweep, and I would love to share a few of them with you. So stick around, and I hope you enjoy.
Welcome to the United States of Paranormal podcast. Sit down and buckle up for an enlightening ride through everything cryptid, creepy, and paranormal.
Hello, all my paranormal freaks out there. It is I, Golden Jay, here for the United States of Paranormal with my co-host, Alicia. You know, I was thinking about this the other day, Alicia. How come you don't have a cool radio name?
What kind of cool radio name could I have?
I don't know.
Just Alicia. Not really anything cool I can make up with that.
All right. And our special guest, Jennifer Williams, is with us. Hi.
Hello.
How is it going?
It's going well.
Now, you sat in with our last episode.
I did.
And what did you think of? This is your first time being in a podcast room, if you want to call this a podcast room. What was your experience like? Was it good? Was it bad?
Good. It was laid back and fun. I liked listening to Alicia's stories.
It was
pretty awesome.
It was pretty cool. Well, today we're super interested in your story. We're excited. I mean, look at Alicia's face.
Tell us how this came about. Like, who is Jennifer to you? And
Jennifer is my boss.
yes.
So, you know me. I've been with the hospital for 30 years. I'm about to hit my 30th anniversary. I've had several bosses, but my last boss I had was probably the one I've had the longest, and her name was Deb. And Deb retired, and they went on the hunt, and Jennifer got the job.
Woo,
And it was
Jennifer.
it was a very interesting deal because honestly they drug their feet on getting it out there for that job to be open and available. We knew she was retiring 8 months prior to her retiring.
Oh, wow. So they
didn't post the job until a month, I think, before. So she retired at the end of December, into December of, what year is this? 2022, 2021. And they waited till like the beginning of December before they actually posted the job. So Jennifer interviewed, got the job, and actually was supposed to have 2 weeks with Deb to kind of learn what she did.
2 weeks for 25, 30 years of what she did.
Yeah. That is not enough time.
No, she should have been there for a couple months, honestly, for all those things that Deb did and would have to teach her, all the ins and outs, the tricks, because Deb had a ton of tricks. So Jennifer gets 2 weeks. So Jennifer comes in, we meet, we hit it off. I think we hit it off pretty well. And
Clearly she's here.
Clearly she's here, yeah. And then the bad happened.
Uh-oh.
What happened?
I don't remember.
I do believe your husband got COVID.
Oh, yes.
Oh.
Yes. My husband got COVID and gave it to me.
Oh, no.
So then I couldn't get trained.
So her 2 weeks turned into 1 week. So she had that first week, and then the second week going into the new year, she had COVID and wasn't able to be there to get that, to get what little training Deb could try to give her and shove in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, and Deb retired, and Jennifer has been a trooper in that job ever since. You know, that is a serious learning curve that she's been on, and honestly, I think you're doing a great job.
Thank you.
You know, like I said, we hit it off. We get along great. She just basically tells me what she wants me to do, and then just leaves me alone to do what I need to do. And the girls have really adapted to you well, I thought, too, and it just seems like a very happy place to walk into. So I think you're doing a great job, and
Thanks.
to see that, and I'm getting a little buttering up to the boss there to see that, yeah. But no, seriously, I think you're doing great, and I love having you on our team there. So
Well, thanks. Yeah,
But-
for a while in the beginning, I was like, I don't know about this.
Yeah, that's scary. Just being thrown at the wall, and well, if you work out, you work out.
The best part of it, the first time that she came over to my warehouse and we were talking, it was away from everybody else, and it was just the three of us. It was because Deb brought her over, and I made a comment. I said something about her tattoos, and that first week that she was there, she always wore long sleeves and tried to make sure they were kind of covered up. And she looked at me, she's like, "You can see my tattoos." I'm like, no, I don't. I want it. And today she's got short sleeves on, so we can really get a good,
Yeah, you got a full
really
sleeve.
get a look at them. Look at she's all tatted up. I love it, every bit of it. So, yeah, it's kind of crazy that way. But so that's how I met Jennifer. And then one day, I don't remember, we were in the loading dock.
I think one of the girls in our department had a saw something in the bathroom of the hospital, and she was telling us about it, and I was like, well, I lived in a haunted house.
Surprise.
And you're like, what?
So I immediately give her one of the new cards. You know, I'm like, hey, you should check out this. And then we start talking about, just briefly, about the house that she lived in. And she told me to look up, the name of the show is A Haunting.
Yes.
And the episode is Eternal Grief.
Yes.
So immediately I go back and start digging for it, you know, and I find it on YouTube, but they wanted like $4.99 to rent it. And I'm like, rent it. So thanks to Logan, I have his Discovery Plus. So I found it on Discovery Plus, and it's in there. And it was a little messed up because like one thing said it was in season 4, episode this, and the other one's like season 3, episode 2 or something like that. I forgot to write that down. I don't remember exactly where it's at, but
Well, that's what I found too, because it was supposed to be originally, I think, season 7, episode 4 or something like that.
right on.
But
Yeah,
every time I look it
It's
up,
different.
it's different.
yeah.
So this
they
is on
move around.
ID, right? Is it on ID or
What's ID?
Investigation Discovery? That channel.
The Discovery Channel.
It's the Discovery Channel,
Yeah,
because
it's-
I know Discovery has like all these.
That was the original. that had
Okay.
it, so I don't know if it branches off.
All I know is I was on Discovery Plus, looked up A Haunting, and then went through the seasons until I found it, and it was
Okay.
on there. So if you have Discovery Plus, that's the best place to get to it. So I watched the episode, and then I got Bobby, and I said, "You got to watch this episode," because there's a couple things in it we'll talk about as we go along here that was like, oh yeah, that's badass. So I asked her, I think like the next day or a couple days later, I was like, listen, you know, I do this paranormal show. Would you want to come on and talk about, you know, firsthand? I mean, this don't get no better than this. This
Right.
is firsthand. This ain't a story of. This is firsthand. You know, she's going to tell us about her adventure. I don't know what else to call it.
Experience.
Yeah,
Experience.
there you
Yeah.
go.
So I don't think it gets any better. But I was concerned because if you watch the episode, and we're going to talk about that, the way they ended it, it almost sounded like she put it behind her and that was it. And that was what I said to her when we originally talked. Is like, if you've put this behind you and you don't ever want to talk about it, don't feel, you know,
Obligated.
obligated by any means. But we'd love to have you on the podcast. And yeah, she never blinked an eye. She's like, oh, I'd love to come do that. So here she is. She's here today.
I'm so excited to hear the story.
I do want to start off with, since we do have a little background there, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself in general?
Yeah. Tell us about you, Jen.
Just about you. I know that you have a farm now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And you absolutely love your horses.
I do.
Do you do a lot of things with the horses? Like, do you show them, or are they just the love of they part of the family? I mean, you know what I'm saying. You just have them to enjoy them at home.
Well, I've been riding since I was 4,
Oh, wow.
and did 4-H and horse shows during school and everything like that. And then, life gets busy with work and stuff, and I haven't had a whole lot of time to do any of that stuff. But I like to trail ride and take them. It's just like human hiking, but you're on a horse.
Did you ever have to eat a turtle to survive?
No, I didn't. Thank God.
Just checking.
Good. No thanks.
Sorry, that's an inside joke.
But yeah, we have a mini farm. We have 2 potbelly pigs, like 40 chickens, 4 ducks, 3 horses now.
Nice.
A crazy psycho dog. And a barn cat.
And a barn cat.
That sounds like a well-established farm. That doesn't sound like a mini farm at all.
I can't imagine just taking care of all those horses. It's got to be like
That's a full-time job in
full-time
itself.
job, yeah. And then potbelly pigs. That's got to be crazy too.
Oh, they're just like toddlers.
Oh, really?
If I don't get out there right in the morning when my pigs wake up, you can hear the one pig screaming from inside my house. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So they're a lot like Ozzy. They just need
Yeah.
a lot of attention.
They're needy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very needy. You can tell with my puppy.
Oh, yeah.
He's super needy.
Thank you.
I love him.
So, how did how did you get on that? How did that come about?
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of going. It's in the story.
Okay.
Okay.
My
Okay.
thing. So that I will tell you how all that came about, but I don't want to give anything away before I just.
Okay.
Here you go.
All right. Okay, let's start. Are you ready to tell your story?
Sure.
So I'm going to lead you in. Where were you? Were you still living with your parents when you bought the house?
No, I was living right downtown Warsaw.
Like over Rex's?
No, I was over by the old Madison Elementary School.
Okay.
I lived in a 1-bedroom, 1-bath house. My uncle had owned it. My great-grandma lived in it before she passed away. And I just lived there with my dogs and my boyfriend.
Right on. And then you found this place that we're talking about, the house.
Yes. My parents have a friend that goes to the moose and stuff like that. And their dad had just passed away. And they had this house with 5 acres and was, a fixer-upper, whatnot. And my dad was like, well, we can look at it because I had horses and I was boarding them and I'm paying a lot of money
Right.
to
It's
board them.
expensive.
Yeah. And my dad was like, well, we can look at it. And shit hit the fan from there.
So it seemed like an ideal place to be
Oh,
in
yes.
the beginning. Like
Well-
like a dream come true. You got
Well,
this
and-
little fixer-upper and...
That is exactly what they talked about in the show. This was your dream house? Is that true?
It probably wouldn't be now that
Right,
I'm older,
right.
but when you walked in, the house was just homey. Like, you could see they had wood beams in the top in the living room, and the layout was really cute. I liked the layout, and the kitchen was huge, and I could look out my back window and see all my, like, if I fenced off, you could see the horses, and I had a mud room for my dogs,
Love that.
and a big garage, a big barn, and had a nice pond that was full of water. And
Unlike my pond, it's like a puddle.
well, my pond at home now is too. But and there was nobody around, except for there was one house on the right of the property, but they had these huge giant pine trees. I was
Yeah.
gonna say pine cones.
Pine cones.
Pine trees
Close
on
enough.
the side. But yeah, it was perfect. And I was like, Dad, I want this house.
Yeah.
I want it. And he's like, okay, we'll go to the bank. I mean, he didn't buy it for me.
Right,
I had a job and I was working hard. And
Yeah.
so, I was really excited because I had never had a place where my horses could be at my house.
Right.
And it was just like my absolute dream.
Yeah, that was actually one of my questions was where were your horses at? Because I know that you I think we had talked and you said you had horses at that time or whatever, and I was curious. So you were boarding them
Yeah.
in
What
a
year
place.
was this?
2010.
Yeah.
It was before that. I think it was like maybe 7,
Okay.
7, 8, 07 or 8. Yeah.
So we get the deal on the house.
Oh.
Everything goes through,
Yep.
and we start moving in.
We move in. Well, before we even moved in, I had a friend, and she's like, "Oh, I want to see your new house." And I was like, "Okay." So we went over there, and this is the absolute first time I've been in the house by myself. Pitch black at night because we worked second shift. And we're walking around, and so if you walked in the house from the garage, it goes into the mudroom, it goes into the kitchen, and then it has a whole loop that goes from the kitchen to the living room, and then it goes back to the bedrooms, but it's like all one. You could access it all the way around.
Right.
Well, then you go back to and then straight onto the bathroom, and on both sides is a bedroom. And I'm standing in the living room, and I did a loop, and she comes through, and she goes, "Who's that?" I go, "Who's what? We're the only ones here. What do you mean?" And she goes, "I just saw a leg in the bathroom getting into the shower." And I was like, "Well, you're full of shit." Because I never believed in this stuff. I love horror movies.
Did you just get chills on that
Yeah.
one? Okay, just checking.
I loved horror movies, but I never, I didn't watch Ghost Hunters or any of that stuff. That
Yeah.
stuff got
Right.
popular after, like, because I remember watching the first episode in that house. I was like, "Ew." But she's like, "I just saw somebody get in the shower. Like, I saw a leg." And I was like, "You're full of shit." She's like, "No, I'm serious." I go, "Well, go in there and look. Let's go."
Yeah.
Because I didn't believe in that
Right.
stuff, I was like, whatever. So we went in there, and there was nobody there. And I was like, "You're so dumb."
Yeah, it's dark at this point.
Yeah.
Like your eyes are playing tricks
Yeah,
on
she's
you.
like, "Well, I'm psychic." And I was like, "Yeah, everybody's psychic." Okay. But yeah, so we left, and we didn't talk ever again about it. But my parents and I went in there right before, you do this, before you move in somewhere, you always want to go in and clean.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, we had just gotten there, and I walked back to the bathroom, and my mom and dad were still outside because my dad is a tinkerer,
Okay.
and
Right.
the people that lived there prior to me, she died in the house. He died in the house.
Mm-hmm.
He was the one that built the house for her, so I was only the second owner.
Oh.
But the kids left when they passed away. The kids left a whole bunch of stuff in the attic, in the garage, in the basement, and in the barn. So my dad's out there farting around,
Yeah.
So it's just me in the house, and I go into the bathroom. I'm like, "Oh, this really does need updated," but it was cute, whatever. So I turn around, and I get a big waft in my face of like Old Spice. I'm like, "Ew, what's that?" I'm like, "Oh, an old man lived here. It's all right."
Right.
So then I go in, and I go into the bedroom, the master bedroom, and I'm just like, "Okay, what could I do here? Where am I going to put my bed? Whatever." I turn around, and I get a big waft of Old Spice. Again, like somebody walks up on you, you can
Yeah.
smell them, or they walk by, and then that breeze. I was like, "That's gross."
Yeah,
I
Old
said,
Spice is not really that
Somebody
great.
spilled this shit somewhere, or it's spilled somewhere, and I can't find it. So then I'm like, okay, whatever. So then I go over to the other bedroom. You can't smell it in there. And then I turn around, and it's like somebody walked up on me. And I was like, okay, I can't breathe. This is disgusting. So I just went out, and it got pretty quiet after that.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't have like a couple months, I'd say, that nothing happened. I mean, I would hear like a radio in the distance when I didn't have any radios on. Kind of like muffled talking, but I never really thought of anything because I didn't believe in that stuff.
Right.
Well, then I had a housewarming party, and one of my girlfriends, she brought a friend of hers with her, and we're just having a good old time, doing our thing.
Drinking wine, hanging out.
Oh, yeah, okay. No, it wasn't wine. It was beer. But
Drinking beer, we hanging out.
but in the episode, the lady's drinking wine.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's not me at all.
We're going to find out today that the episode, there might have been some maneuvering that may not have been exactly 100% correct.
And some of the stuff that I tell you is how I lived it. Sometimes some of the stuff they flopped. So if you hear my story and then you watch it, you'll be like, oh, yeah, they did switch that a bit, to be dramatic.
Yeah.
So I'm just having a good old time at this party, and this dude comes up to me, and he's like, yeah, I'm so-and-so's friend. I was like, cool. He goes, you have people living in your house. I was like, yeah, me. And he's like, no, you have a man and a woman that live in this house. They haunt this house. This is their house. They don't want you here. This is their house. You're intruding. I said, well, this is my house. So you tell them to get out. And he was just creeping me out. And then, I was looking for my friend Sarah, and I'm like, where is she? And I turn around, and he's gone.
What?
Yeah. I mean, he was still at the party, but he told me that, and then I
And then he
looked
just
for my
disappeared.
friend. He's like, out of here. I'm like, you're full of shit, dude. And then I found Sarah, and I was like, you're not gonna believe what this dude just told me. And she's like, oh, okay. But come to find out, Sarah had a feeling when she was at my house too. She had a weird feeling, like somebody's watching her.
Right.
And Sarah had stayed at my house. I think it was that night. And she got up in the middle of the night. I don't know why, but she went into the kitchen and she opened the refrigerator, got something out, put, whatever. And she, how when there's carpet and the door, like that noise on the carpet?
Yeah.
She heard that. So she looked in the hallway, and I wasn't there because it was just me and her. And she's like, Jen? It's like, I'm sleeping. And so she goes back in her room, and she says that she felt breathing on her, and her hair moved. And she said she got back into bed and was covers over her head, and I'm not coming out until it gets light out.
I'm building a fort with my blankets.
Yeah. So yeah, and
So was that the only night that Sarah stayed at the house? Then she wouldn't stay again after that, would she?
but she didn't tell me about it until
Shit hit the fan.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Yeah, that kind.
So all these people's possessions are in your garage, in the attic, in the basement. Everything they had, because this was this their first home. Pretty much everything their kids didn't want.
Yes.
And this was their first home. This is the home that the husband built for his wife.
They did a finished basement first, and they lived down there while he built the house upstairs.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
And do you know the year?
It was 20s or 30s. I want to say, because it
So this is
wasn't a
pretty
new
old
house. Yeah.
Old farmhouse kind of
Yeah.
thing.
And they were older.
Right.
Because she died of, I think it was cancer in the master bedroom, and then he died in the living room on a hospital bed.
Oh.
It was on a hospital bed. Okay, so that brings up, let's tie all this together here, because in the actual TV show, they talked about the rocking chair that you found in the basement.
That rocking chair has nothing to do with my story.
Oh, for real?
So that rocking chair was my great-grandmother's. I brought it with me.
Okay.
It was in my living room, and that had nothing to do with it.
Was that, like I said, we
Because
talked.
I don't want to confuse her because she hasn't watched it.
Oh no, that's
Because
no, yeah.
the part of it did happen, but the
Yeah.
chair was irrelevant.
Well, like I said, the storyline was that she found the chair in the basement and brought it upstairs, and you said a hospital bed. The show actually portrayed it as he died in that rocking chair.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
that
I want to
didn't
make
even
sure that
happen.
I want to make sure that's clear.
It's kind of funny.
Yeah.
That's kind of funny. Yeah, that they've got it all skewy.
Yeah, they do a couple things. We talked about the flies. They really focused on the flies in the house and how they congregated underneath that rocking chair. And you told me.
Well, I'll get to that.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
don't ruin it for me, Jeremy.
Yeah, she hasn't seen it.
She's going to know the real story, and then she's going to watch that and be like,
This is nothing what Jennifer said.
You know, it's a strongly worded letter. So where was I? He just did
the hospital bed. Yeah, he died in the house, in the hospital bed.
Okay.
Yeah, so Sarah stayed the night with you the night before your party.
And then, like, I don't know how long in between things would happen. Like, sometimes it felt like if something happened every night. Sometimes it would be like, I'd go a couple months and it'd just be like the little radio that I would hear talking. And I think the next thing that happened was I was at work and this guy was like, "Oh, you live in so-and-so's old house." And I was like, "Yeah, I do." And he goes, "Oh, you know they died there, right?" And I was like, "Well, I guess now I do. Thanks." And I have to go back there. I worked second shift, so it was going to be pitch-ass black when I got home.
Right.
Yeah.
So he tells me that, and he was telling me how the guy built the house for his wife. He loved his wife so much, and that when she passed away, he kind of just lost it. Like, he had no reason to live. He just sat in the house. He didn't go anywhere. And, yeah, he just let the place go. And, like, he said that one of the boys that was the son of this couple said that he would go over there to help pick up after him, and he would find, like, food stuffed in the dishwasher because he was like, "I don't give a shit. I'm going to throw it in here. I don't care what happens." Yeah, so he tells me all this. So I go home, and I always locked my dogs in my mudroom, so they weren't in a cage, but because they were crazy too. But they were in my mudroom. I pull up, and there's a big picture window in the living room, like a huge, like that big. And there was somebody standing in the window. And when I got, I was like, because I had to turn in like this, and when I turned into the driveway, then the lights would flash into the house, and there was somebody standing in the window, like a big man type silhouette. And my dogs were going nuts. I was like, if somebody's in my house, I'm not going in there.
Yeah.
So I called my brother, and my brother's one of those big Harley guys, so he comes over and
Pretty scary guy.
with his gun, and he's like, "Nobody's here." Okay. I went in and I went to bed. And
You just went to sleep?
well, I just thought somebody was in my house. My brother looked it over. It was okay.
Oh my God, you're so brave.
Well, like I said, I never believed in any of this stuff at all.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And then things got quiet again. That's when I met Sean.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't believe in any of that stuff either. So, like, when I would tell him about the stuff that happens, like I saw a man in the window. I forgot one.
Oh.
I forgot one. Can I backtrack?
Oh,
Yes,
yeah,
you
backtrack.
can.
Heck, you can edit this stuff.
No, we're going to leave it just like this. It'll be perfect.
So it was in the summertime, and I had all the windows open, and it was supposed to rain, so I was like shutting all the windows. And so when you walked in from the mudroom, there was the door to go to the basement. If you walked around to the other side where the hallway were the bedrooms, stairs to go to the attic. So I had, you know how when you have the windows open and the doors, the suction?
Yeah.
So my attic door was doing the suction opening, closing.
Right.
And my dogs were asleep on the couch. I had a German Shepherd and a Pit Bull. And they were asleep on the couch, just sitting there rocking. All my windows are closed. And I went up and I shut that door and I pulled on it to make sure it was latched. And 20 minutes later, the door flings open and hits the door jamb on the back of the other door to go into the kitchen.
Right.
My dogs jumped up and they ran over there, and all the hair on their back is standing up, and they are barking, staring up into the attic, just barking. Teeth, like, yeah.
They're pissed.
Yeah, they're mad. They're like, "Who the fuck is this?"
Right?
No, they just woke me up. That scared me. And, like, ever since then, I think that was when I paid attention. Because I had a friend that came over just to hang out and watch a movie with me. And I went to the bathroom and she said that, like, the cabinet doors opened and, like, a baking dish came out and just sat on the ground.
What?
Yeah.
No.
She told me that. And as soon as she told me that, I was like, let's go somewhere else. Yeah. So we left. And just, like, little random things would happen. I was in the shower and the shower curtain, like, opened, like, this much. And I had the whole Psycho.
Yeah.
The whole Psycho was like, about pooped.
I don't think there's anything more I don't think there's anywhere you feel more vulnerable than when you're in the shower.
Mm-hmm.
And it opened like this much.
Yeah.
And it was, my door was shut, my dogs were not in there, and it was just me. And that scared the crap out of me.
I can imagine.
But, you know, I was starting to pay attention.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when I met Sean. And he had 2 little kids. She was 4 and he was 2 when we met. And they would stay in the spare room.
How long had you lived here at this point?
3 years?
Okay.
3 or 4 years.
Right on.
And he was like, oh, well, that's cool. Let's, start renovating. I was like, okay, yeah, because I wanted to do all these updates. So we gutted the basement. And that's when, like, shit really started happening. I had my washer and dryer down in the basement.
Mm-hmm.
And I was doing laundry, carrying a basket upstairs. And I felt on my calf, all 4 fingers, like, go like this around my leg. And, like, I could not get up the stairs fast enough because it felt like something was holding on to my leg, but I couldn't see it. And here I am screaming and freaking out. And Sean's like, what the hell is wrong with you? I was like, something just grabbed my leg. He goes, no, it didn't. I was like, yeah, it did. I felt the fingers.
Right.
I felt every single point, like, pressure from the fingers on my leg. He's like, oh, okay. Yeah. Nothing had happened to him. He didn't say anything, so he's like, you're crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, we just started dating. You're going to leave. He's going to admit me into a psych ward.
You get all my crazy right up front.
Yes. Yes. So, yeah. I don't read too much into the fly thing. But after everything happened, everybody's like, oh, it's demonic and all this other stuff. In the kids' room, underneath this one window, every single day, there'd be hundreds of dead flies. Like 100 dead flies. I'd get the vacuum, I would suck them up. And then the next day, hundreds of dead flies underneath there.
God.
Yeah.
I think that's extremely interesting because if you go back and listen to episode 1 of Team Tejas, they talk about, remember the sunroom or the
in the winter
room.
there was
all those bugs and flies.
Dead flies.
And, also in an upcoming episode that I'm researching right now, that is once again something that came up in that episode with a lot of the bugs and out of nowhere all of a sudden
it's supposed to
they
be a
come
sign
in.
of like demonic presence.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I don't know. I don't know. Would you consider this ghost demonic though? I mean,
well, at the time I didn't.
Right.
I mean, I was freaked out, but grabbing my leg isn't like I'm going to scratch your face off.
Yeah.
Like,
or you're just leaving you with scratch marks. I mean,
Yeah.
you see a lot of that too with hauntings where people get scratched but no, I'm sorry. Keep
Oh, you're fine.
Continue.
This terrifies me because my washer and dryer is in my basement, and I'm like, oh no, it's the same thing. It's there's the stairs. I gotta carry everything up the stairs. So now this is all I'm gonna think about.
My dishwasher and my washer and dryer are in the living room right now watching TV.
Rude.
Jeremy.
That's love.
Oh my god. I can't wait for Bobby to take you on another really, really brutal hike.
Oh yeah.
You're gonna...
I'm sorry. I just had to add a little something there.
Okay, so
Okay, so there was one night in my bedroom. My door was back, like the wall come out like this, and the door was back in a little like hallway type thing. I would always push the button on the door lock. I would always lock my door as long as I can remember. I always locked my doors. And it went into bed. There was Sean by the door, and then there was me on the other side because I will not sleep by a door.
okay.
Period. So we're sleeping, and all of a sudden I hear the pop out,
Yep.
and the door just opens. I'm like, Sean, the door just opened. And so he grabbed his gun, and he went and walked all over the house. He even took my 2 dogs outside, and we walked around the house, and he said there was nothing there. And then he came back to bed, and I was like, okay, fine. And then a couple nights later, there was this big bang inside the house. Like, he woke up. I didn't hear it. He woke up thinking somebody was breaking into our house.
Right.
He grabbed his gun and he ran all over the house and then nothing. And I don't think he ever saw anything like I did or had anything happen to him, because I don't know if it was because he was a man or whatever. I don't know. I'm not a ghost. But he heard things and felt things, but he never had, like, he saw something.
Right.
But, like, there had been friends that would come over and they'd be like, who's that? I'm like, who's who? It's just us. And they're like, I just saw a guy over there. No, you didn't. Come on. I know what's going on in my house, and I'm just trying to say, oh, don't.
Yeah.
No, because I'm still thinking in my mind that I'm crazy.
Yeah. But other people are seeing it too.
Yeah. Yeah. And there was one time when I was down in the basement, because I did it very fast. Laundry, switching it out, getting it in, throwing it all in the basket and running up the stairs. Well, I was down there, and Sean was out in the barn doing something, and I heard, get out. Like clear as day. Not Sean's voice, not mine, not the kids weren't there. Get out. I got out of there. I ran up the stairs.
Okay.
You
got it.
Peace out. And yeah.
Is it a man or a woman?
It was a man.
Yeah.
It was a man. Everything was manly. Like, I never felt a woman's presence or heard a woman, except for, like, when I would hear the muffled talking. Mm-hmm. It would sound like a man and a woman talking, or it could have been 2 women or 2 men. It was hard to tell.
Yeah.
It was just, like, very faint. And then, then Sean's little boy would he'd be reading. He can't read, but he's like baby gibberish,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then he'd turn the book to the corner of the bedroom, like he's reading and then showing somebody in the corner of the bedroom.
Really?
That's creepy. With kids, that kind of stuff creeps me out. Because, kids are innocent and they can see things that we can't.
The veil's thinner for them.
Yeah.
Kids and animals.
Yes. So he was doing that, and then when you would ask him, well, who are you reading to? Nothing. But he could say, like, if he'd be like him or, something, then he'd be like, nothing.
So it was like a little secret.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I have asked him, since he's gotten older, and he doesn't remember anything. He was young.
Right.
Which is probably a good thing, but he's been very sensitive. Like, stuff would scare him. Like, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory scared him. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if something like that has made him, like, freak out more about stuff. I mean, my stepdaughter,
like hidden in there, like that.
It's like in the back of his brain or something.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And she never had anything. I've asked her, and she said she never thought she felt anything or had anybody in the house or anything other than us.
Really? Mm-hmm. That's interesting. How old was she at the time? 4? Is what you said?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So definitely the old man took a liking to the boy.
And they had sons,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They had, I think, 3 sons and 2 daughters.
Oh, okay, so they did have daughters, but... Huh. That's interesting, though.
Yeah. This is kind of different, but I was at the house. I was out in the backyard. It was like in July, and all of us, like, we were out there, we had a bonfire, we were going in, and I mean, this isn't with the house, but this is just weird because it happened when I lived there. There was a red light in the sky, and it came across and it stopped, and then it shot up and it was gone. And like 2 minutes later, here comes another one.
What?
It was even lower, and it came out and it shot across. It wasn't flashing like
Right.
an airplane or anything, and that freaked me out. Well, then the next day, on the radio, they were talking about, on the Warsaw radio, they were like, "Oh, these people are calling in saying they saw UFOs," and I'm like, "Oh shit," because
Samesies.
aliens terrify me.
Really?
Terrify me. I don't like to be outside in the dark or anything. But anyways, I just had to throw that in there because that was something weird that happened when I was at the house.
Right.
So like I said, when I'm sleeping, I always lock the door. I don't know like what time of year this was, but I remember I was sleeping and I heard the doorknob, like the come out, the door opens and I'm like, all right, I know what's going to happen. I'm going to get him awake, and he's going to go look, and then he's going to get mad because he has to work in the morning.
Right.
Which he didn't. He never got mad at me. Just saying.
Right.
But that's going through my mind. So I get up, and I peek around the corner, and there's a fucking person standing there. Like, full blown. I can't see his face, nothing, just black. But you could tell. Head, shoulders, knees and toes. Head and shoulders. But you couldn't tell anything but just like black. And he was standing in my doorway. And that's when I was like, Sean. And I woke him up, and when I turned back over to say he was gone.
Oh my God.
Yeah. He was there. But then he wasn't.
And then he wasn't.
That was the scariest. I mean, the grabbing of my leg was scary, but seeing him standing in front of me, like
Right.
3 feet away from me,
Yeah.
middle of the night, you can't see his face, nothing, just black. And my dogs were both sleeping, and they didn't
react to it at all?
No. So maybe it was the woman at that time. I don't know. Couldn't tell.
Right.
But that scared the crap out of me.
Yeah. So what's going through your head at this point? Like, what do you want to do with the house? How are you going to explain this to your boyfriend? Like,
Well,
what's the course of action?
he started believing me because he would hear the noises, and then the couple times he got up and heard the noise but didn't see anybody. No broken glass, no proof anybody was trying to break in. He had started seeing things out of the corners of his eyes, but when he would look, he wouldn't see them, so he just blew it off. He believed me.
Right.
Because, it was obviously I wasn't making this stuff up. So as of right then, I was fine with staying there because it was just like nobody was getting hurt. I was getting freaked out a couple times, a few times a month. It was fine. I just figured he loved the place because he built it for his wife.
Yeah.
She died there, and he's still there because he loved her so much. What made me want to move out was I was talking to Sean. He was in the kitchen doing something, and I was standing at the top of the stairs to go into the basement, and something pushed me, and I fell all the way down the stairs.
Are you
I had
fucking serious?
I had broken ribs, and I had a torn ligament in my arm because I grabbed onto the handrail to stop myself. But I was just standing there talking to him, and I wasn't even planning on going down until I was finished talking to him.
Right.
So it wasn't me going down and being clumsy
Yeah, and you
and
tripped.
distracted.
Yeah,
No, I was at the top. I swear there was probably a good 2 foot from me to the first stair for me to even fall down it. And I was pushed that hard. That is when I said we are moving out, because if he will do that to me, he will do that to the kids.
Yeah.
And I'm not doing that.
Right.
I will not let those little kids get hurt because of that. No.
Now, did Sean see that? I mean, was he looking at you when you got pushed?
I don't know.
Right on.
He heard it. I know he heard it.
Right. Well, obviously,
and
yeah.
He came running down the stairs after it happened and helped me, and we went to the doctor and all that stuff. But
right.
I don't know. It happened so fast. I don't know if he was. He doesn't even remember. Yeah, he doesn't even remember because I was just standing there and he was doing his thing, and then I was gone, and he heard the whole thing, and that's when I was like, "We're leaving." So, I had reached out to this guy that is supposed to be like this big paranormal. He helps people with paranormal hauntings in their house, demonic stuff. I reached out to him and I told him everything. And he emailed me back and he's like, "Yeah, I'd love to help you. Send me $500. I was like,
oh, wow.
No, I'm not going to do that. If you don't want to help me, I'll find somebody else. So then I got a hold of these ladies out of Fort Wayne.
Mm-hmm.
And the first time they came to my house, they got so many EVPs and feelings and touched and stuff like that they had to come back for a second time. And little did I know, the second time they came, they brought a guy that's a tech guy, and they had him looking all over my house for like speakers and stuff like that because they thought I was faking it.
Really?
Yeah. I was there for both times. And we moved everything out, and then they went in. And the first time they were there, it was still light out. It was like the sun was setting, so it was like dusk. And they're walking through the house, and I'm showing them, and we're in the back bedroom. You don't hear it, but when they played it back, you hear a man sneeze. And the first time that they came, it was just the three ladies and me. A man sneeze.
Really?
Yes.
They thought you were faking it?
They thought I was faking it.
Those fucking bitches.
I don't blame them, though, if they're getting that many EVPs and they're that clear.
Yeah, but, come on. Why would you be a paranormal investigator and then start accusing people of faking stuff? I mean, especially
if
when
they've been doing it for a really long time and this is nothing like they've ever seen before.
Well, and this is when like Ghost Hunters and Ghost Adventures and all them started to come out like big time. Like really popular.
Yeah, so people are like, we want to be famous too. Mm-hmm. I could see that. I could see someone trying to fake it just to get some.
I guess it gets me because I don't want that. That's not something that I would do, and it wouldn't be in my mentality.
It's not your character.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
And I don't see it, especially if you got somebody who's reaching out who's scared and I don't know.
Walking around with broken ribs.
No shit. Yeah, I threw myself down the fucking stairs because I want to be famous. Give me a break.
Yeah.
This doesn't make any sense to me, but yeah.
And I'm not somebody that likes I don't even like to open presents in front of people, and I don't like attention.
Yeah.
Right.
And I know I would never have wanted to do this.
I'm an ego whore. I am, but I would never fake something like that just to get attention.
So yeah, they had a man sneeze. I was going to go outside to do something. I don't remember what it was. And on the recording, you could hear a man, say, "Don't go."
Really?
Like said, "Don't go." But he wanted me to go before. And he told me to get out. So why is he saying, "Don't go"?
Now all of a sudden.
Because he didn't like them either.
I guess. And they got other ones too. Like one of the ladies' names was called. This is still the first time. The lady's name was called, and the second time they came out, they heard music, like old timey music.
Uh-huh.
They had the name was called again, and a few other things. I have them on a DVD. I can bring them and let you hear them.
Do you really?
Yeah, I do. I have the whole report from them. And they have what they think all the EVPs say and stuff like that.
I would love to hear that.
Heck yeah.
It's really neat. I will never in my life ever have a doorbell again.
Really?
Yes. Because It was a weird ass old doorbell that would sing like songs.
It wasn't like a normal chime.
It wasn't like ding dong. It was like she'll be coming around the mountain.
Yeah.
But it was
Nuh-uh.
instrumental type, like the chimies with that.
Okay. Oh.
And it was so old, but it never worked. Well, they weren't there. It was before they had gotten there. They were on their way, and the doorbell song plays. And I'm like, what the fuck is that? Because I had never heard it.
Yeah.
Right.
So then it played its song, and I was like, what the hell was that? And I'm like looking everywhere. And then like 10 minutes later, it goes off again, but it's a different song because every time you pushed it was, I guess, different.
Right.
So I was like, fuck this. And I got some wire clippers, and I clipped it because I was in the mudroom when it went off, and that's where the chimes were, or the speaker or whatever.
Right,
but it
right.
had never worked. Like, I would push the button outside just to see, if I would be able to hear it, because I lived, if I was back in the back pasture, I wanted to be able to hear it if the back door's open or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Never worked. So then I sniffed it. Guess what happened?
Yes, yes, I was hoping for it.
I hate it.
My eyes water. That motherfucker went off again.
Nice.
Yeah,
Well, not nice then, but
it did. It did.
I hate it. This guy's a real asshole.
Yeah.
So, did you ever try to communicate with him? Like, even before Sean moved in and you knew he was there, did you try to communicate with him like you were going to, like, can we coexist in this?
Yeah. Yeah, because when I would, like, just hear little things, and then after that guy told me that at work, I was like, okay, we can do this. We can be friends.
Yeah. And he
I'll leave you alone. You leave me alone. But, no.
Do you think the reno of the basement kind of set the whole thing completely into motion?
Yes, because he built the house. He loved the house. But the thing is, we did that, which I think pissed him off. But Sean and I were not married. They were married. They were very religious. And, I mean, yes, I believe in that stuff and God and have my own thing. But they were very, very
You
religious.
guys were living in sin.
Yeah, exactly.
Dirty girl, you.
That's horrible. But yeah, I think it was like a few things that made it happen worse.
Made it, kind of escalate.
Well, and I wonder if it made him uncomfortable knowing that another woman was in his house.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
that
you're
was
not my wife.
Yeah.
that was the vibe I got off of it when I watched that episode. And I know I keep going back to that because that's my reference point, but because honestly, we've talked about this. They changed a lot of things up and to make it more kind of TV excitable, I guess.
Dramatic.
Yeah, dramatic. I did though, and you said he did this twice in the show when they talked about when you saw the apparition standing there in the doorway.
He looked crusty.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah. In the show, they had him like cornflaked face.
Yeah. but you wake Sean up, and then he grabs, and they actually, I think they said they grabbed his 45 and started going around the house. And I remember watching when I watched the episode, and he's like, and Sean grabbed his 45 and started going through the house. I'm like, fuck yeah, he did. He fucking grabbed his gun. He's a tinker and some shit.
I think Sean actually said it.
Did he say it?
Yeah, he's like, I grabbed my 45.
That's super funny.
But I was like, yeah, he did. But they actually showed him seeing the reflection of the old man in the basement, which, was like the beginning of him kind of taking a grasp on it. So it's nice to get that perspective, to know that he never actually saw him, and he came into that belief because of you and because of maybe the side eye stuff. Was like, what was that? But
Yeah, they took a lot of creative liberties when they messed with that show, huh?
Yeah. And like when we would be in the barn, or I would be in the barn, it was like there was a hayloft above the main part of the barn, and you could hear footsteps up there. And you had, the way you got up to that loft was a rickety old ladder,
Right.
and then just like a 2 foot by 2 foot square that you would. That's how you got in there.
Right.
Yeah.
And there was no way out because there were 2 big doors up there, but they were nailed shut.
Yeah.
So I would go up there and I would look around. I thought maybe raccoons or something,
Right,
but no,
right.
there was nothing up there. But you would hear footsteps walking across there.
Now, was he like a farmer? Is that what he did? Do you know?
I really don't know.
I mean, obviously he did something with farming since there was a barn there, but
Yeah, I don't know if he used it for a barn or like a workshop, because there were benches that he had in there.
well, clearly
Well,
he was a carpenter since he built the
yeah,
house.
exactly. So that maybe that was his work. That was just his workshop that he did all of.
Yeah.
He have. Well, you talked about the beams that went through. Was there a lot of like molding and stuff that he did? I mean, nothing
No.
fancy like that. Right on. No. I hear a lot of that. Of the old guys that used to build and do all their own renos, and the woodworking guys that would build and make all the crown molding and all that stuff.
Oh no, he put what is that wood stuff on the
Paneling.
paneling?
Oh,
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, the entire house. The entire house was paneling.
Oh, wow.
And then the one wall in the living room was fake white bricks.
mm-hmm.
And then, no, that was in the kitchen. And the living room was fake red bricks on the one wall.
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah, it was.
Sometimes it's easier than actually breaking out the mortar and actually putting a brick
That's
wall.
true.
Yeah, it was not the prettiest. But, yeah, they came out and investigated, and they said, you just either live with it or, well, you're already moving out. So
Right.
somebody else is going to have to deal with it. But that's what they said. And I said, okay, thanks. My parents have a few experiences that happened when they were there. And my parents are older and they're married, have been married 50 some years, and they're religious. My dad was there by himself, and because we had started the renos, but didn't get to finish them, so he was working on stuff, because he likes to do that. He's in the basement, and he said he had the door to the basement open. He said he heard the garage door open and shut into the mudroom, and he heard footsteps come into, like, stand at the top of the basement door. And my dad comes around the corner, and he looks up the stairs, and there's nobody there. He walks up. He looks out the window to see a car. There's no cars. He walked the entire house. There's nobody in the house. He's like, that's weird. And then there was another time my mom and dad were there, and there was a fly swatter on a nail with a nail like stuck out this far. And it hung there ever since we moved in, because I think it was there before us and I just left it.
Right.
And my mom and dad were in the basement doing something, and that fly swatter flew on to the ground at the bottom of the stairs.
Oh.
It was just like went off that
That big
nail
long
and then
nail, yeah.
was chucked. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. My mom said that freaked her out very, very bad.
Did she come back?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, because we needed the house to be ready to put on
Sell,
the market.
right.
Yeah. And she had heard things. She thought that somebody was talking upstairs when they were in the basement, but there was nobody there. She said it was a man. So yeah, a lot of crazy stuff.
This dude just can't let it go.
It's insane, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a great, I mean, it's a great story. I love this story, even though I'm sorry that you had to go through all that, especially since it really at that time was your dream house, and you had a lot of potential there for what you wanted.
Mm-hmm.
So the house goes up for sale. It sells, and I want to make this a very important point, is if anybody has watched this episode or is going to watch it, they really kind of said towards the end that you just didn't care. Boom. You just didn't care. Now, we've had a discussion that's different than that.
Yes, I was in an interview for 6 hours talking about this with them. And at the end of it, I said something along the lines of, I don't care about the house. I don't want to have anything to do with it. But I said, if the next person that has the house, if they have any issues, I mean, I would be glad to tell them, hey, get a priest or something, try that, or just don't call these ladies because they're going to tell you to stay there and co-live together, commingle. And they completely cut that out. So then after the show aired, I had people like messaging me on Facebook being like, well, why don't you care about them? And I'm like, I do. I do. But we did find out who lived there afterwards, because my mom and dad handled everything, because my dad's had rentals and stuff, so he knew how to do all the selling and stuff. So I guess after our episode aired, Sean was at Lowe's or Menards or somewhere, and one of his friends works there, and they were like, hey, I saw your episode of A Haunting. Do you know the lady that bought the house is right there?
No shit.
And he's like, no. He's like, yeah, she lives there now. And he goes, has she said anything? He goes, no, she saw the episode and said you're full of shit.
Are you serious?
She didn't. Of course, she wouldn't have said shit because they're very religious and married. Right. But she said, yeah, nothing's happened to them, which is great.
No, that's wonderful.
That's great.
Yeah.
But it kind of makes me like I don't have that happen. That doesn't happen. Why would it happen to her and not us? Well, you're married. We weren't.
Yeah.
You're religious. We weren't as religious.
Right.
We had kids. You're older. We don't have,
Yeah.
So we're not the same. But yeah. So.
Yeah, I thought that was important that we bring this out, that, you just didn't give two shits about what happened to it.
Yeah.
To the next family, but and they did. That's how it kind of portrayed. And you said you even got some comments and stuff on something, didn't you? Did you get emails or?
Well, on YouTube, when it was on YouTube, you know how you can comment on YouTube videos? There was a bunch of them on there that said, oh, she doesn't give a shit about the people. Oh,
right on.
Like stuff like that. Like, no. And I just ignored them because what am I going to do? Go on there and I'm going to get bombarded on Facebook, because I did. I got bombarded.
Right.
I had friend requests and messages, and it was horrible. And now to this day, when if reruns or something, somebody sees it, I get a message. Oh, did you really live through that? No, I didn't.
Yeah, right.
That's not me. That's not me.
Else.
It's a joke.
Well, and to be, it's under a different name too in the episode. We'll just leave that as it is. That's all right. Because I don't want people to listen to the podcast and then start going after it. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe. This should be fine.
It'll be all right.
You've told your story.
So how did you get on the show?
Oh, so the ladies that did the investigations, I guess, have a friend that is part of A Haunting, whatever their company is called now. I don't even remember what it was back then. But I had reached out to the Dead Files.
Okay.
Have you heard of the Dead Files?
Yeah.
I had reached out to them. They got back to me on bringing Amy out and having her do the whole thing, and sent us the release papers to do it, all that. I signed them, and nothing. They never got back to me. Yeah, never got back to me. So I was like, whatever. Well, these ladies had said, hey, A Haunting is looking for new stories for this upcoming season. So I was like, okay, yeah, you can use mine if you want to. So they used mine, and then they used another guy that lived in Fort Wayne. But he was the one that came to my house because they thought I was faking.
Oh, he was a tag guy?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
So he's the one that's in the other episode that the ladies are in.
That's kind of weird.
Yeah.
That might be a little sketchy.
Yeah.
So is he faking and trying to see if I was faking?
Right.
But why? Yeah. So they used mine and his, and I watched his, and it wasn't. I was like, it's all right. But his dad was murdered like a few years ago, either at a gas station or something, and that's what he talked about a lot in that show. So I don't know if it was
his dad
him
that was haunting him.
I don't know if it was that, but he just kept saying, my dad was murdered. My dad was murdered. And I don't know if that was his just getting attention.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. But yeah. It was just weird. But that's how. And they went to Ligonier and at the Solomon Bed and Breakfast in Ligonier is a big old pink Victorian house. It's got an old carriage there and everything. And the inside's creepy.
Really?
And it's very creepy. And like the stairs, well, you'll see it now, but the stairs in the background with Sean, those were behind, like, they were all dark when I walked in there, and it was just creepy. The place was just creepy. But yeah, I sat there and talked for 6 hours.
That's what you were said, that they interviewed you for 6 hours. Now, I want you to take into consideration, she talks for 6 hours. The episode is 50 minutes at most, and what you have, maybe 6 minutes of clip time that was in the show itself, that you talked? Yeah.
Wow.
That is a lot of downsizing.
Heck yeah, it is.
Yeah, because
our episode's an hour and 10 minutes.
Yes.
And I feel like you did the story pretty good.
What's going on? They kept out, anything with the kids, anything with the dogs, because they said animals and children are unpredictable and they can't get them. Their budget was just too small because it was just a small production company, but I was like, that's the scariest parts.
Yeah,
right.
I think
for real.
So yeah,
for sure.
Holy
moly. For sure.
So have you had anything happen since? Anything weird you can't explain?
No.
And you never had anything before you moved into that house?
No. But I was not like into paranormal investigating and stuff like that. But it's funny because I lived through that. But now I'm telling myself I didn't live through that. And in my brain, I want to see an apparition. I want to be touched. I'm the one that goes in there and is like, you can touch me. You can touch me. Like I go with Sean's sister. We have investigated like the circus museum in Peru.
Okay.
We did Al Capone's place. There was a factory that he had. We investigated that in Chicago. And we've been to one of the elementary schools in the area, and we've investigated there. And I've like heard things, but I've never like seen anything. And I'm just like, come on, I want to see it.
Right.
Because I'm like, did I really see that stuff? Right. Or was I dreaming?
Would you go back to the house?
Oh yeah. I just drove by it today.
Yeah.
Which was ironically funny for me because she texted me and she's like, "Hey, it's gonna be I'm on my way, about 45 minutes," which was perfect timing. But when she got here, and she looked at me and she goes, "Yeah, I drove by the house."
Yeah,
it was just the way the GPS took her. It wasn't she didn't intentionally go by the house, but she went by it, and I thought that has got to be really ironic at this point.
Do you think their kids like watched the episode and are like pissed because
I know the one son did.
Yeah.
And he's told my dad, he's like, I don't believe that. That's bullshit.
Really?
Oh my God.
Yeah, they were all assholes.
Huh.
How
Because
wacky.
you would think that if my father was haunting a house, I would be like, I'm going over there because I want to talk to him.
Yeah. I'm going to set this straight.
Yeah. Let's go find out if he's really there. Let's find out if he's really there. Let's have some conversations because there's some shit I need to know.
Well, and what benefit would it be to you? You know what I mean?
I didn't get any money or anything for it.
Yeah, unless you're, attention, which, like you said, you're not that kind of person that wants attention. So, like, why would these people? It's not like you can get money back on the house because it wasn't.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. They were just, the whole thing with them was just their parents died and they wanted the money. So it was just get it done fast. And I never had anything to do with them after we bought the house. My parents would see them because they'd go with the moose and hang out and stuff. But
Well, and clearly since they left their parents' stuff, like a ton of their parents' stuff all over the house. Like,
Yeah, that's weird too, because if you would think they would try to do an estate sale and sell all that stuff, but why instead of just leaving it there?
It wasn't anything really that would have gotten them any more money.
Wow.
Like there was an old suitcase, like old suitcase. There was old Christmas decorations. Like rusty old tools in the basement because they told us it was finished, but it would flood.
Oh, really?
So like every spring, because I guess there were cracks in the foundation, the water would just pour in. So there was like just nasty. There was a pool table down there, and that was a bitch to get out.
Oh, I bet, because there was a big old slate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, they left that. That would probably be the only thing, but it probably was damaged from the water.
Right.
And in the barn, they left all kinds of like junk tools, cans full of like oil and
Right.
nasty stuff.
stuff that they just didn't give a shit to try to remove.
Well,
like, not my problem.
Yeah, exactly. It's not worth anything to me, so I'm just going to leave it here. It's all
there
good.
were 2 old clocks that I thought were pretty cool, but we just threw them out.
Yeah.
It wasn't. And it stunk in the attic. Like old people.
Right,
Oh,
right.
no.
Yeah, old people.
No musty kind of.
Not Old Spice, but
Not Old Spice. It was mothballs and.
but I never smelled the Old Spice after that.
Just that one time.
Yep.
That is a little strange.
It's
You would
almost
think that
like
would be.
he's like, "Ooh, I'm gonna put this on new people."
Oh yeah, how you doing? Yeah, throwing out the best Joey. How you doing, huh?
But yeah. But then my mom saw that the house was for sale again, and we got on Zillow and we're looking at all the renovations that they did, and I mean they did a lot.
Yeah.
Their son was a contractor, so he came and he dug all the way around the house and did all the water sealing.
Yep.
So it wasn't finished, but it wasn't going to get wet.
Right.
So they must have sold it because when my GPS made me drive by there today, there were people out. There was somebody in the driveway, and there was a trailer and a truck by the garage or by the barn, and it looked like they had already moved in, but it looks nice. I think it's a cute house.
Yeah. No. Once again, it was your dream house to start off with. So I mean, I imagine it was probably pretty cute.
Yeah, it was cute.
I gotta get the address. I gotta go drive by it.
Oh, you can have it on.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't want to live in a haunted house ever again, but
I don't blame you.
You'll visit a haunted house.
I like being scared.
Yeah.
I've always loved scary movies.
We're going to have to take her out to like Little Egypt or something. And
Yeah.
I'll go.
we should do that.
So
one
when
night.
we book our trip to Waverly, you want me to sign you and Sean up to go with us when we decide to ever go around to go?
Yes,
All
I've
right.
wanted to go there for a long time.
Listen, I just spent a few days in the woods, in a cabin in the woods, and, I sat on the deck looking for puck wedgies, Sasquatch.
Anything.
You never know down there close to the Ohio River what's going to be popping out at you.
What's a puck wedgie?
A puck wedgie?
They're terrifying. little-
Puck wedgie?
A puck wedgie.
Wedgie.
Wedgie. It is a 3 to 4 foot humanoid that hangs out actually Mound State Park down there in Anderson.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're really known to be there quite heavily. But they're
In New York? Is that or New Jersey?
No, it was in
Pennsylvania.
No, stop. It was Connecticut, wasn't it?
Connecticut.
Yeah.
Delaware?
No, Massachusetts.
Massachusetts?
No,
Rhode Island.
Go back and listen to the episode of the Puck Wedgies.
It's been a while.
It's the one
That
that has
was
the,
the
least views.
episode
It was the episode that
With the
yep.
voice and the
Oh.
camera
Yeah.
falling. Yeah.
They're just they're mythical little creatures that are very mischievous. What's the word?
Mischievous.
Thank you.
Have you seen Frozen?
Yeah.
Okay, you know the little rock creatures, the trolls?
Yeah.
That's what they look like, pretty much.
Oh.
Yeah, and they can shapeshift and they can conjure fire and
So they're like
poison darts.
skinwalkers?
No.
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 But they're magical. They're magical. Magical.
Yeah, they're creepy little buggers. They kind of look like they kind of have beaver faces sometimes, but they've got
Like
big
Justin?
noses.
Did you say Justin Bieber?
They have beaver faces.
Well, Jennifer, thank you so much for coming and telling your story here.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's been amazing having you for the last couple episodes. I hope you enjoyed, hanging out with your employee.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun.
Is there anything else you want to add to in the episode here? If anybody's going on a paranormal investigation, Jen would like to go with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just, I'm not a heartless bitch. I do care when somebody lives there and they're having issues. So don't come at me if you watch a rerun. And
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, so if you watch a haunting, Jen cared about those people
She
that
did.
moved in afterwards.
Yeah. She did. She didn't just
She wanted to help them. The writers and creators of the show just took a lot of
liberties. Yeah.
with
Yes.
what was said and the way the story went. This is the real story from Jen's mouth.
Yep.
So,
Yes.
Straight up. This is where, this is not edited for any production level. This is the story as she's telling it.
Yep.
Except when I start cutting it up and be like, I didn't fucking care about it.
Well, that's what they did.
I know that's
That's what they did because you can see me pause, like the camera glitched or something.
Yeah.
Like my eyes like this, and then I'm like this. Or, like that's just.
yeah.
But yeah,
That's wild. I can't believe it. I can't believe
It's,
people did that.
Yeah. So now that and you don't even need to watch the episode now because you got the first hand. You know
Yeah.
exactly what
I'm
goes
still
on.
going to watch it, though.
Right on.
I'm still going to watch
And
it
you'd be
'cause I'm
like,
curious.
that's fucking wrong. That's fucking wrong.
that didn't happen like that. No.
Yeah, you'll catch some things. I mean, like I said, we've talked a little bit. I tried to not get too much, but about what is different from what really happened to what they say happened on that episode. So
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you so much.
Of
Yeah,
course.
thank you for
course.
coming out here and joining us.
Yeah, what was that?
I got a frog in my throat.
Do you have my socials for me?
Do I have your socials?
Do you have my socials? Will you read me my socials?
We would like to hear your thoughts. If you have anything you want to say to Jen, let us know. We'll forward it on to her.
Yep, I know where to find her every day.
Yeah.
Yep, that's true. Feel free to message us on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook, or you could email us at theunitedstatesofparanormal@gmail.com, and Logan will be back with you as soon as he possibly can, which is usually pretty immediate. You can follow us on any of our social media platforms, and while you're at it, check out the other Golden Mojo Entertainment family of podcasts. We've got Golden Image Podcast, which is Jeremy and his son's podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Skylar and Gunnar. And then Gunnar has another podcast with his best friend, the Call Guys. There's a lot of arguing that goes on.
It's amazing.
They like to start wars on that podcast.
Just
with the
remember,
other podcasts.
just remember, Colton, suck it.
There you go. Jeremy just recently started a new podcast called Indiana Chiefs Fans and The Murd Nerds, which is mine and Ashley's podcast.
All about true crime, and now outside of the state of Indiana.
Yep. We're no longer confined to Indiana.
Yep.
So you can rate and review all of the Mojo Entertainment podcasts on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. This is the best way to support us because the more reviews we get, the more likely we are to chart, and then we get good sponsors and
Yes.
stuff. So,
You need good sponsors.
yes. And we also have a lot of really cool merch that Logan's handled. So,
The merch is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
As you can tell by the tapestry behind me here.
yes, Jeremy has a tapestry that he bought of himself.
That's funny.
It's not wrong. It's not wrong at all.
That's funny. But yeah, if you are interested in merchandise, you can find it. There's a link to the merch mausoleum on all of our social media pages and in the show notes. So next week, you'll be taking a road trip with Team Tejas. So until next time, Jeremy, take it away.
See you on the other side. Was that good?
Perfect.
Like that? Was that like really creepy?
It's super creepy.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you, everybody, for sticking around. Like I said at the top of the podcast, Jennifer was nice enough to give us the EVPs that the Paragirls actually caught while they were doing their investigation, and I would love to share a few of those with you, some that I found interesting. So let's go ahead and get started. Here's the first one. Now I'm going to play it, and then I'm going to tell you what it's supposed to say, and then I'm going to play it again so you guys can get a chance to re-listen to it a second time. All right, so just before the knock, you can hear a voice say, "Hi." It's kind of creepy. Okay, so now here's the next one. I'm actually going to do an adjustment on the volume on it because the actual person talking is so loud. I don't want to blow out your speakers. So I'm going to do an adjustment so it's going to go down and then it's going to shoot back up when the voice comes back in. Check this out.
Are you a jokester? Gosh.
All right, so I don't know that you can for sure hear that, but the voice says much. So they ask if he's a jokester, and he says much. Here, check it out again.
Are you a jokester? Gosh.
So this next clip was taken in the living room. Once again, I'm going to dive down the beginning of it with the volume so it doesn't blow out your speakers. Here we go.
Yes. Twice on the floor for now. I heard a yes, it was one thump.
So I'm not really 100% sure what is being said in this. They just classified this as a whisper, but definitely something's being said back behind, and it sounds kind of like a little sentence, like it's saying something with more than, just a hi or whatever. It sounds to me like there's syllables to it. So listen to it again.
Yes. Twice on the floor for now. I heard a yes, it was one thump.
On this next one, it's going to be somewhat loud. I'm going to drop the volume down a little bit, but I don't want to take it too far so you guys cannot hear the whisper coming in behind the lady talking. So just be prepared. You might want to turn your volume down just a little bit, but I want you guys to hear this one. Here it is. Did you hear the 1, 2, 3, 4 in the middle of her talking? It's really kind of quick, but check it out. Here it is again. All right, I've got one more for you. This was actually recorded in Jennifer's bedroom. It's pretty quiet, but it's pretty cool. Check this out. So for me, there's two parts to this little, very short piece of audio. For me, I think I hear somebody say, "Not me," and then you can hear an old man sneeze. And that's what they categorize that as, the old man sneezing. Here, check it out again. Did you hear it? Listen, I want to thank Jennifer for giving us these EVPs to use for the show and for her story and coming in and hanging out with us. And once again, I want to thank all the listeners out there for the 10,000 views. It's so greatly appreciated, and we hope that you are loving the content that we put out each week. Team Tejas is killing it, and Team Booisers is doing everything they can to keep up with them. So we love doing this. It's been so much fun doing the research and all that good stuff like that. So thank you, and thanks for sticking around after the actual show and to hear the EVPs. And I hope you like them. And if you hear something that I didn't hear, email us. You know the email address. It is I'm not even 100% sure what it is. United States of Paranormal at gmail.com. So hit us up or hit us up on Facebook. We so much appreciate you guys. And I'll see you on the other side. To support other Golden Mojo Entertainment productions, check out Golden Image Podcast, The Call Guys, and Murd Nerds wherever you enjoy listening to podcasts. To see photos and find new episodes of the United States of Paranormal, follow us on our social media. Twitter at TUSOPPOD, or Instagram at the United States of Paranormal, and Facebook, the United States of Paranormal. If you have a place that you'd like us to look into, or would like to share your spooky story that we can read on the air, please email us at theunitedstatesofparanormal@gmail.com.